A good neighbour is a gift from God surely, but to have a bad neighbour, you'd be better off in the deepest, darkest dungeon of the most horrible prison, which neither man nor beast to greet you. A long time ago, in the village of Kinturk in County Cork, lived 3 farmers by the name of Hudden, Dudden and Donal O'Leary. Now, the 3 men lived close by. In fact, they shared the same yard. Now, Donal O'Leary was one of the nicest men you could ever meet, a beautiful, intelligent man. However, Hudden and Dudden were horrible, mean-spirited men, always scheming and scamming and trying to get Donal O'Leary's land. So this one day, Hudden and Dudden set a plan in motion. They wanted to kill Donal O'Leary's horse. For back in them days, if a farmer had no horse, he had nothing. Back in those days, the horse was used for the harrowing, the ploughing and bringing the milk to the creamery and such things. It would be like a farmer nowadays having no tractor or a car. So that night they set the plan in motion. They snuck into the yard beside Donal O'Leary's house, into the stable, and they cut his horse's throat and left him there to die. Now the next morning, Donal O'Leary come up and he went to feed the horse, and of course, what did he find in the stable? Only the horse lying there with his 4 hooves cocked up in the air. Now, not one to grieve, and a very intelligent man and a practical man, Donal thought, sure, I'll skin this old horse. He has a beautiful hide on him, he's well fed. I'll skin the horse and I'll bring the hide into town and sell it. And that's what he did. Donal skinned the horse from head to toe, threw the hide up on his back, and off he set for town. Now, it was a fierce hot day, and by the time Donal was halfway up the road, the birds in the sky were circling and they're looking at the hide, because for all the world they thought that dinner was being served for them with the blood dripping off the hide. So they started to swarm in and they're pecking at the hide on Donal's shoulder. But there was this one peculiar bird, and he was making these strange noises like and it was like for all the world he was speaking to Donal. And Donal thought this was very strange. So as he was perched up on Donal's shoulder, Donal stuck out the arm and grabbed the bird by the legs and shoved it in under his jacket and continued into town. Now, when Donal got to town, the best he could get for the hide was 2 shillings. Now, not the best, but better than nothing. So, as he was about to set off home, he had a bit of a thirst on him. As I said, it was a hot day, so he called into the nearest bar. Now, the woman behind the bar had 2 barrels of the Guinness, one for the regulars, the good stuff, and one for the strangers, full of the slops. And she served Donal O'Leary up a pint of the slops. Now, Donal had the pint served up to him, took a sup, and oh Jesus, that's brutal, he said. And with that, Donal stuck the hand under the jacket, grabbed the bird by the legs, and the bird gave a like that. And the woman behind the bar was startled. She turned to Donal and she said, "What in the name of God is wrong with that bird?" "I'll tell you what's wrong with the bird," said Donal. "This bird is my friend, and he's been with me through thick and thin, and he tells me when people are trying to scheme me and scam me, and he's just told me that you've served me the bad stuff, and I want a pint of the good stuff now." And with that, the woman ran away and pulled Donal a pint of the good stuff. And when she came back, she laid the pint on the table and said to him, "Here now, stranger, would you be interested in selling that old bird? He could come in very handy for a woman like myself when the police are trying to raid my establishment and people are trying to trick me." "What? Sell the bird?" he says. "This bird is my best friend. He's been with me all my life. How could I sell my friend?" "Oh," she says, "I'll give you a lot of money for him, sir." "Oh," said Donal, "how much money would you give me?" She says to him, "Take off that hat there and I'll fill it up with silver for you." And Donal did. He took off the hat, and now Donal had a bigger head than myself, a big round head, and he gave her the hat, and off she went. She filled the hat up with silver and brought it back to Donal, and she said, "Could I convince you with this, sir?" And Donal says, "Well, now, I don't like to be selling my friend. He's been with me all my life, but it's a lot of money." "Okay," he says, "I'll take it." And he did. Donal set off for home with his hat full of money, and sure, when he got back to the yard, who was waiting there for him, ready to sneer and leer only Hudden and Dudden, but when they seen the hatful of money, the eyes were like stalks out of their head. "Where did you get that money, O'Leary?" they said. "Ah, lads," he said, "yous did me the best of favours there last night by killing that old horse. Sure Jesus, I skinned it and I brought it into town, and look at what I got, a hatful of silver for that hide." Now, what do you think the idiots Hudden and Dudden did? Straight home they went. They killed their own horses and skinned them and brought the hides into town. But when they only got 2 shillings for their hides, they knew they'd been scammed by Donal O'Leary. "Damn that Donal O'Leary," they said. "We'll get him." So the 2 lads set in motion a plan to rob Donal O'Leary that night.